Hey YouTube, welcome back to Axis and Allies, the Garrison. This is Detroit coming to you from the bunker here in Rochelle Park, New Jersey with another episode of the YouTube Wars. It is the USA's turn. It is episode 5.4 and G.I. Joe will make his moves, which are very interesting, I have to admit. He's definitely going on the offense and he's doing what the U.S. is supposed to do. It is halfway through round 5. The U.S. is supposed to be an aggressive nation at this point in time during the conflict. So good for him. He will show his moves, and I think you guys may be pleased with what G.I. Joe does. All right, so as always, let me know what your thoughts are in regards to the strategies and tactics that we are currently using in this game. A couple of announcements. Okay, a few videos ago, I made an announcement where I am conducting a lottery or a prize giveaway where I will be giving away to the lucky winner a few of my painted, customized game pieces. Okay, I've announced that in order to be able to participate in the event, in the lottery, you have to, first of all, let me know that you're interested. And secondly, you have to be subscribed. Okay, so those are the only two recommendations, the only two pre-qualifiers to be included in the lottery or the prize giveaway. I hope that you guys can hopefully, whoever the winner may be, may get some enjoyment and improve his own overall quality gaming experience as a consequence by winning this. One more announcement I have to make. It's involving two YouTubers who have recently joined our community and who are producing content for us to watch. Okay, they're also using social media as a way of them being able to play YouTube, Axis and Allies using via YouTube as a social media platform. Okay, Pilato 1969 is from Mexico and Corporal Clegg, I believe, is from England. They are both excellent quality gentlemen who have been playing now and have started their own version of the YouTube Wars. They call it World War II. Yes, World War II. I'm going to include in this bottom of the description box a link to their channels where you guys can watch for yourselves how they're going about playing their own version of the YouTube Wars. Once again, it is called World War II, and I'm also going to include a video, one of the creations or one of the episodes that Corporal Clegg created, and I tell you, it is excellent, very well made, high quality content that I'm sure you folks will enjoy. Okay, Corporal Clegg goes on to describe or gives us tips, us in the community, on how it is that we have to do or should be doing on how to play or use social media and how we can go about playing Axis and Allies via YouTube. Okay, so it's just a shout out. I'm very happy that these two gentlemen have gone ahead and started creating their own content for us to enjoy as well. I highly recommend and I suggest that you check out their channels. All right, guys, let's go ahead then and watch the recap video for the USA's turn under the command of G.I. Joe. All right, YouTube, so it is the USA's turn. It is episode 5.4. G.I. Joe will finally get to make his moves for his USA turn in round 5. So, what is the current ground and naval situation for the USA in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters of the war, or wars for that matter? So, in the Pacific, what you have going here is that during the last round, okay, the Germans were able to take out the U.S. fleet off the coast of Gibraltar, Morocco, season 91, okay, where the American fleet was sunk. Okay, it was an expensive venture for the Germans. The Germans lost the majority of their attacking aircraft and fleet, but it was one that was worth the while because, in essence, you're denying the U.S. a foothold in season 91, which would permit the U.S. to project its naval power up north into the Atlantic or potentially into the Mediterranean. So it was a necessity for Germany to retake season 91. However, having said that, the U.S. does have another fleet ready to deploy this turn. The good thing for the U.S. that that it does seem to have an unending source of income, allowing it to really replenish any losses that it sustains during its gameplay. All right, so let's go over to the Pacific, see what the current situation for the U.S. is. The U.S. Has several task forces throughout the Pacific consisting of naval transports, destroyers, and submarines. Okay. The primary U.S. force, though, is in Sea Zone 33 off the coast of the Caroline Islands, where you have a joint or allied fleet consisting of U.S. Warships and Anzac destroyers and cruisers. All right, so this force is something that is a worry for Japan because it poses a threat to the outer perimeter and even the interior perimeter of the empire, as you will soon see later on this turn when Joe makes his moves. Okay, so definitely interesting, and let's see how Joe goes about making his moves. All right, so let's see what his purchases were. Total of 71 IPCs the U.S.A. spent in this round of purchases. The U.S. did roll or did purchase 5 dice, one IPC value of for each for its technological weapons development. He did roll, I believe it was he got a 5, okay, which allowed him to, all he needed was to get a 5 or 6 on any of the 5 dice that he purchased. He did get a 5, which means now that the U.S. does have its weapons development. G.I. Joe did declare that he did acquire the weapons development of super submarines, which means that all of his submarines can now attack at a 3. Okay, they still defend at 1, but they can attack at 3 now. All right, the U.S. also purchased 1 aircraft carrier, 2 destroyers, 2 naval transports, and 2 squadrons of fighter aircraft. All right, and these were the total purchases that the U.S. made. All right, let's go on to the order of combat, or the actual the movements, combat movements for this phase of the game, of the conflict. There will be a total of 6 battles that the U.S. declared. Okay, the first battle will be Sea Zone 6, where you have 2 U.S. naval submarines coming from Sea Zone 15 at a movement of 1 and 2. Okay, these 2 submarines will be attacking the single Japanese destroyer. Okay, Japan did scramble, okay, or will scramble for the battle. So 2 submarines are taking on 1 destroyer, 1 fighter, and 1 tactical bomber for the battle in Sea Zone number 6. All right. In addition, you have a tactical bomber and a fighter in Queensland. Okay, they will deploy at a movement of 1, 2. That's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay, these aircraft will have 1 movement left in the fuel gauges. Okay, because there is an airbase in Queensland allowing these aircraft to keep 1 movement left in the fuel gauges. And these 2 aircraft will be attacking the Japanese destroyer in Sea Zone 43. All right, the third battle in the Pacific, okay, will consist of 1 naval transport, okay, in Sea Zone 33 that is in the that is part of the U.S. combined fleet. Will pick up the 1 infantry division currently in Caroline Islands at a movement of 1, 2, and 3, and will take French Indochina. So the U.S.A. took Indochina unopposed. It was just a simple amphibious landing operation that took place there. All right, so these are the 3 battles that took place, or that will take place in the Pacific. All right, so let's go over to the Mediterranean and the Atlantic regions. You have an Italian fleet in Sea Zone 92 consisting of a destroyer, cruiser, 2 naval transports. You'll have 2 U.S. fighter squadrons at a movement of 1, 2, and 3 that will deploy and will attack that Italian fleet. Both of these aircraft will have 1 movement left in their fuel gauges. There you go. Okay. In addition, you have a U.S. strategic bomber in Sea Zone, actually in England itself, at a movement of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll join that attack as well. This bomber will have 3 movements left in its fuel gauge. All right. Okay, the battle for Sea Zone 91. You have 2 U.S. naval destroyers coming from Sea Zone 101 at a movement of 1, 2, and 3 will engage the German U-boat in Sea Zone 91. Okay, and last but not least, the battle for Sea Zone 104. Okay, in this battle, you'll have a U.S. submarine destroyer and aircraft carrier at a movement of 1, 2, and 3 will engage that German fleet. Okay, the fighter in Sea Zone, not Sea Zone, but in located in the eastern seaboard of the United States at a movement of 1, 2, 3, and 4. This aircraft will also have 1 movement left in its fuel gauge. Okay. So here you have a fighter, submarine, destroyer, and an aircraft carrier attacking a wolf pack of 3 German U-boats and its escort of 1 destroyer in Sea Zone 104. All right, I think that's it for the attacks. It's a total of 6 attacks that Joe declared for his turn. All right, we'll be back shortly with the result of combat. All right, so let's go ahead and review the results of the combats that were just held. The battle for Sea Zone 92, where you had the U.S. Air Force attacking the Italian fleet in that sea zone. The battle went well for the U.S. The entire Italian fleet was sunk to the bottom of the sea. However, the Italians were able to return fire and did shoot down 1 U.S. fighter that participated in that attack. All right, so the Italians lost 2 naval transports, a destroyer, and 1 cruiser. They did not roll well. At least I think they should have had at least 1 more positive return hit on the U.S., but that's how it is. Okay, so battles can go back and forth. All right, so that battle was a U.S. victory. Battle for Sea Zone 91, another victory for the U.S.A. The German U-boat in Sea Zone 91 was also sunk. All right, let's go over to the battle in Sea Zone 104. The German fleet, consisting of 3 a wolf pack of 3 German U-boats and its escort of 1 destroyer, was also sunk. However, the Germans in this instance were able to inflict return some serious fire on the attacking U.S. fleet, where the U.S. fleet lost its carrier and the attacking submarine. So now you only have 1 U.S. destroyer surviving that attack, all right, and its support of 1 fighter squadron, okay, that participated in that attack. All right, so let's go over to the Pacific, Sea Zone 6. Here you have 2 U.S. submarines, and keep in mind the U.S. does have super submarines, which allows its submarines to attack with a die roll of 3 or less. In this instance, both submarines did score a hit. I did scramble my tactical bomber and fighter squadrons. However, they both missed. Interestingly enough, the defending Japanese destroyer did score a hit. So one of the two U.S. Attacking submarines did did sustain a loss or was sunk to the bottom of the sea as well. Okay, I find it interesting though that my defending aircraft did not score any hits, even after I had scrambled. All right, the second battle is for the Japanese destroyer, Season 43, where you have an American tactical bomber and fighter squadron attacking. In this battle, the Japanese destroyer was sunk. The Japanese were not able to effectively return fire. Both of these aircraft survived the attack. All right, and last but not least, of course, as you guys already well know already, the U.S. did perform a amphibious naval operation where one U.S. infantry division was landed in French Indochina unopposed. Okay, so I believe that's it for all of the 6 battles that the U.S. declared. Okay, let's go ahead then with the non-combat movements. All right, so let's go ahead and perform the non-combat movements. Excuse me. The bomber, the U.S. strategic bomber that attacked in Season 92 will still has 3 movements left, and it'll go at a movement of 1, 2, and 3. It's going to land in French Guiana. All right. The U.S. naval fighter that also performed that attack, okay, that participated in that attack, will be moving at a movement of 1, okay, where it will link up with the U.S. Aircraft carrier coming from Season 101 at a movement of 1, 2, and 3. So this fighter will land on the carrier. Okay. The U.S. Naval Transport, Season 101, okay, will pick up 1 AAA on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Will also pick up 1 infantry division in central U.S.A., okay, at a movement of 3. 1, 2, and 3 will link up with the U.S. fleet and will drop off its complement of 1 AAA and 1 infantry. So now in Morocco, you have 2 U.S. infantry divisions accompanied with 1 AAA and 1 armored division. Excuse me. The fighter that participated in the attack in Season 104 will move south. This fighter still has 1 movement left in its fuel gauge, and it will also land on the carrier in Season 101. Correction, Season 91. All right, so that's it for all of the U.S. non-combat movements on the Atlantic theater side of the war. Let's go ahead to the Pacific theater, where you have quite a substantial number of movements that the U.S. will be making. So, the U.S. Naval Transport, Season 3, okay, will pick up its 2 infantry divisions in Soviet Far East and will move to Season number 9 at a movement of 1 and 2. All right, same thing with the Naval Transport in Season 2. Okay, we'll pick up 1 mechanized infantry, and at a movement of 2, we'll go over to Season 9 as well. Actually, yeah, Season 9. With its complement of 1 mechanized infantry division. All right, the U.S. Naval Destroyer in Season 8 will join the U.S. Transport Fleet in Season 9, okay, at a movement of 1. Okay, the U.S. submarine in Season 25 at a movement of 2 will link up with the other U.S. submarine in Season 6. So now in Season 6, you have 2 U.S. Submarines. All right, the destroyer Season 32, no, Season 25 will make steam and head south, move at a movement of 1 and 2, and will be stationed off the coast of the Marshall Islands in Season 32. All right. The two U.S. Fighters on the carrier in Season 33, okay, at a movement of 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me see. They were in the carrier, right? So it's going to be a movement of 1, 2, 3, and 4 will end up in J-hole. Okay, supporting the Russian infantry divisions. I believe there's 4 of them in J-hole. So they are posted in that Chinese territory now. The U.S. fleet, the entirety of it, will make steam at a movement of 1, 2, and 3, and will make sail for Season 42. So the entire U.S. fleet now is in Season 42. There you go. The 2 U.S. aircraft that attacked Season 43, the tactical bomber and the fighter, okay, will go ahead, and they still have 1 movement left in the fuel gauges. Both aircraft will land on the carriers, on the U.S. carrier in Season 42. All right, I think. Oh, I thought I was done, but I'm not. The U.S. submarine in Season 23 will make sail for Season 21. And now we're completed. Now we have finished all the non-combat movements for the U.S. So let's go ahead then with the placements of the newly purchased units for the U.S. Okay, the U.S. will purchase both of its fighter squadrons on the eastern seaboard of the United States, as well as the rest of its fleet. So all 2 transports, the carrier, and 2 destroyers that were just purchased will be placed in Season 101. Okay. And I believe that does it for the U.S. The U.S. will now, in its income tracker, will be collecting a total of 72 IPCs, industrial production certificates, for that it will carry for round 6. Okay, because the U.S. just completed its turn in round 5. Okay, so now very interesting move, I have to say. G.I. Joe has moved the U.S. fleet now into Season 42, very far off from its center of operations. I wonder what's going on here. I'm sure that the fleet will link up. The Anzac fleet will eventually, later on this round, link up with the U.S. fleet in Season 42. I'm pretty sure that's what the game plan is for the U.S. and the Anzacs as well. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. As always, let me know what your thoughts and comments are. It is now the UK's turn, and of course, the UK is under the command of Sire Blood. Okay, so it will be episode 5.5 that is coming up next. Guys, as always, hope you enjoyed this episode, and until next time. And by the way, don't forget to bunker down and play.
YouTube is becoming more and more popular as a platform to play Axis and Allies, and I couldn't be happier. Playing with others over YouTube is very different to playing with others in person, and it has its flaws, but you'd be surprised how well it works overall. In this video, I'll explain how to play Axis and Allies over YouTube, including suggestions to make the experience as smooth as possible for both yourself and your fellow commanders. World War Tube is a new YouTube series I've launched with my good friend Piloto1969. I made this video especially for those I have the honour to be joining in the next World War Tube game. To those of you, first of all, thank you, and best of luck in our game. For everyone else, I hope you'll find these tips helpful in your own games. When you play with others over social media, all players will have their own boards set up identically. And when it's your turn, you'll make a video going through all the phases of your turn, and your fellow commanders will use your video to update their boards. You'll of course be following the turns of your enemies and allies to update your own board. You'll need a place to leave your board set up for an extended period of time. At least a month, I would say. Possibly more. Games over YouTube will take a lot longer than normal, but this gives players more time to really think about their moves, which I've found improves the overall gameplay experience. You'll need a half-decent camera to record your turns on, and a YouTube account to upload your videos to. Let's first look at video creation. As I've already said, you'll be going through your entire turn in your videos, and there can be a lot to remember. So here's a few things to bear in mind. First of all, plan your turn in advance. A lot of thought goes into a good move, and this takes time. Take your time to make your turn. But that being said, when you start recording your turn, this isn't the time to be thinking about what moves to make. Nobody wants to watch you thinking for ages. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, here's a tip. Use some thick paper to make some simple arrows to plan and keep track of all your moves. Red on one side for combat moves and black on the other for non-combat. These will help keep